So tonight we bring it back to the one word that this entire legal battle and everything it's uncovered hinges on. Defense? I don't know. Not the excuses, not the evasion, not the late night filings trying to rewrite history. I'm talking about my defense of truth, a process of my name, my work, and my right to speak out. See, defense isn't just a legal term, it's a stance, it's a posture. It's what you take when you know you're under attack, but you refuse to back down. And when the attacks keep coming, that's defense. The defense gets sharper, stronger, and smarter. So tonight, let's examine not just what I've defended, but why. And more importantly, what those desperate attempts to chip away at it really say about who's on the other side. All right, so let's get into it, shall we? But first, let me look at the chat real quick and see who might be in the bear cave tonight. So it is 10 o'clock exactly, and it is June the 11th, 10 o'clock at night. So again, we bring it back to that one word. I know I'm the plaintiff, but I'm talking about things that I've had to do to defend my name. Okay? I have a right to defend my name. This case was never about revenge. It's about reclaiming dignity. D for dignity. After sustained, targeted, and often, well, it's been more or less anonymous abuse, but there's been abuse that has not been anonymous. There have been others who are known, who have been part of the abuse. But right now I'm focused on the one individual. Though I've named, I named the defendant and other names. I've also put Jane Doe's 1 through 10. Yes. Strangely enough, though, I can't. John showed up first. Okay, so truth is the strongest defense. I've talked about that before. But just to zero, you know, in on it, hone in on it. Everything I've submitted, from screenshots to statements to service records, is rooted in verifiable fact. I can't help but say it once more. That's not slander. That's documentation. Mhm. Verifiable facts, Mhm. which can be challenged, sure. But again, they are verifiable. I've followed the court's orders. Unlike, well, I've abided by every directive. I didn't file out of turn. I didn't flood the docket with distractions. Yeah. You might say, well, how can that be part of a defense? Talking about, again, my voice, my name, my right to my filings. But I didn't file out of turn. I didn't flood the docket with distractions. I'll say that again. That's discipline. That's defense done right. Defense is not the same as retaliation. Some people might think of that word, when you think of defense. That it's not the same. I mentioned this the other night. The phrase, I bullied the bully, it might sound edgy, but it doesn't hold up in federal court. This isn't a tit for tat. This is evidence versus evasion. Evidence versus evasion. And the strongest defense for me right now, it does include boundaries, for which I've spoken about. So you might hear me saying things different days, but certainly there can be some overlap. Okay. But setting boundaries, when people cross lines, personal lines, legal or ethical, setting boundaries for myself, it isn't aggression. It's protection. It's smart. It's necessary, especially now. I reiterate, I've submitted the receipts from the CCB filings. Mhm. I haven't talked much about the details. I haven't read my case online. But some of the receipts do include the CCB filings, Mhm. to the registered agent, proof, Mhm. to her own live streams, that my defense isn't built on assumption. It's built on what she said and did on camera and on record. Okay. Those CCB filings, it wasn't just the two that I've included. There were others. but it was used as a tactic. She said it in her own words. It was captured in her video. It was used as a paper trail. I've talked about that around the CCBs. Mhm. She talked about how it was used against me, against videos that I had played and that were struck. Not because they were copyright, but just to keep them down, just to slow things down, just for a paper trail, nothing more. Abuse of the copyright system. You know, I heard someone today. Who was it? I might have been listening to someone's video. I heard someone mention, I'll just say, they mentioned something about copyright strikes. Okay. A number of the copyright strikes that were made against me, it wasn't at all because I had anything in there. I'm talking about nothing at all. Not one word, not one picture. But I was struck. So when I heard this person say, who was it? That she will strike you or you can be struck for one word. That's true. But this individual struck, I don't know about other people, but she struck my videos by impersonating. This is just one of the ways, many ways, by impersonation. Okay. So it wasn't even something that they could claim. One of the most recent strikes, I'm not talking about like Instagram or other social media, I'm talking about here on YouTube. Mhm. When she impersonated or used an alias, Whitney Jamison, which I didn't include that. I didn't include Whitney Jamison. And she struck making claims of the thumbnail. She claimed the artwork. She even claimed my avatar. This is not the only time that my avatar was claimed, the one you see there, by impersonating an author, a best book selling New York number one, author. So that was not because I was using something. So let's not forget, it's not just because a person might use a portion of her clip. If she decides that she just simply wants to strike your channel, she can strike it for no reason, just because. But a number of the reasons came through aliases and impersonations. She said that avatar belonged to her. So I can just imagine that she was planning, this because at the time, multiple of my videos went down. So she was thinking, looking like, wow, all right, I can't strike Unwind with Teddy. Not because she's playing my videos anymore. What can I strike her on? So she creates this and says, aha, because she's always plotting and planning to take a channel down if she wants to. Okay. And that's how she did it. She filled out the copyright claim form and she said her legal name was Sybil. Miss Sabette. Just filled it out. It took me some time to fight that. But in the meantime, wherever I had that picture, she just went down. Boom, 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 boom. Just strike after strike after strike after strike. Certainly, I didn't expect to wake up one morning and find that my channel had been struck. I'm like, I don't have anything on my channel. I had been taking all kinds of precautions. I had removed anything that I thought was strikeable that she would go after. No. Okay. So with Whitney Jameson, she said that avatar, she created the artwork. She described it. She said the, African American woman or black woman with the fro, with the afro, and the artwork of that robot, she said. It was her thumbnail. I had to, respond to it. In the meantime, my channels went down. This is how she operates. So it doesn't just have to be use of any of her video. 1 second. It could be nothing. She could just, decide that she wants to slow you down. She can just decide that she wants your channel down. This is her tactic. If you become her target, and that's how she wants, and that's one of the ways that she goes after people. It is in the playbook. It's by filing fraudulent false strikes, not just the name of her channel. Sometimes she does that. Sometimes she just, puts an alias. She has used multiple aliases, multiple email addresses. Okay. That's just how it's carried out. Okay. So again, when I talk about the CCB filings, once YouTube made that available, it used to just be a time where if someone struck the channel, they would have to file, a lawsuit in federal court. Well, one of the other ways that they can file is through the Copyright Claims Board. Mm-hmm. That's another process that is open up. And that's what she had been using most recently to file. And those filings were filled out with an address, with a name. Mhm. She said her legal name. And now the defense is, well, that's not my address, or that's not my registered agent, or I left there. It's just a lot of, you know, when it was convenient, you know, when it was used as a way to create a paper trail, then it worked. Mhm. But if I use that as evidence of abuse and where she has, used the filings in her name, she disavows them. Mhm. But it's on record. Mhm. That's what I mean when I say my defense isn't built on assumptions, defense explanations, talking about or answering to the court. Mhm. It's on camera, it's on the record. Filing, by the way, unauthorized responses, that isn't a defense. No, it's a delay tactic. Because a real defense follows the rules. An insecure defendant tries to change them mid game when the facts aren't on their side. Yeah. The deeper I dug, the more I uncovered. I haven't talked about all of that, but the more I've come across, the more I see what she wanted hidden. But it's bringing things to light. Mhm. No, I'm not going to give the details of that one area. Not now. But there are patterns that I can see. And the more I'm looking and the deeper I've dug into these evidence that I have, the more I see. That's what I'm talking about, digging into. Okay. And yes, I do have video evidence. A lot of it. A lot of it that I don't even know what I don't know yet. Okay. I have a lot of, not just video. I have a lot of screenshots. I have a lot of other things. Mhm. Media. Those things, again, that she wanted hidden. Mm. So when I talk about D for defense again, it really isn't just for me. I've said that too. It's for anyone who's been silenced, because if you've ever had your name dragged, your work stolen, or your voice suppressed, then this fight, that I'm in, this stand that I'm taking, this defense, and I'm talking about my name, my reputation, what I've worked for. Mhm. It's it's yours too if you've been a part of that. Mhm. Because there is some overlapping, but then there's some things that are uniquely my own as well. Okay? So, D for defense. Analyze this mess, because somebody has to say it, and I'm saying it. I can't believe I've been on for half an hour. It's just about 10:25. Mhm. Now I will pause. The first, I think it might have been the first or second day after I filed my lawsuit, I think I'd have to look on a video, but I did read the very first page of the 83 pages of the complaint. Mhm. There are probably some of you who have never heard what my complaints, or what's part of the complaint. Yeah. So I will share that first page again. Or it's actually page 6 of 83. I read the statement of the claim, and I did read the first page, which um, was this: in the United States District Court for the Eastern District of Michigan, Sabrina Evans, um, plaintiff versus the defendants, uh, Jane Doe, also known as Daniel Robertson, Danny Robertson, Danny Montana, Truth Teller Danny, Lori Davis, Danielle Robertson, LLC, uh, Jane Doe's 1 through 10. Okay, the case was assigned to the Honorable Judith Levy. The case number is 524 CV 13435. The date it was filed was December the 23rd of 2024. I'll read you what I read to my audience. The nature of the case: this federal lawsuit arises from a sustained campaign by the defendant Daniel Robertson to harm the plaintiff Sabrina Evans through copyright infringement, defamation, harassment, privacy violations, and cyberbullying. Since 2022, the defendant has repeatedly violated the plaintiff's rights by unlawfully using copyrighted material and filing fraudulent copyright claims, primarily through impersonation, to commit fraud and damage the plaintiff's YouTube channels, Unwind with Teddy and Run Till That Too. These actions have caused significant harm to the plaintiff's reputation, emotional well-being, and professional career. Plaintiffs Sabrina Evans bring this action against Jane Doe, also known as Danielle Robertson, Danny Robertson, Danny Montana, Truth Teller Danny, Lori Davis, and Daniel Robertson, LLC. The complaint reserves the right to amend to include additional defendants identified as Jane Doe's 1 through 10. These placeholders represent individuals or entities whose identities and roles are currently unknown but believed to be involved in the alleged actions. This lawsuit seeks to hold Danielle Robertson accountable, secure compensation for damages, and obtain injunctive relief to prevent further harm. Count 1, copyright infringement. Count 2, defamation and privacy violations. Count 3, false reports and fraudulent claims. Count 4, cyberbullying and harassment. Count 5, impersonation of others to commit fraud. Count 6, conspiracy to commit fraud and cause emotional distress. I read 2 pages. So now you know at least a little bit more. Yeah. Because it's June? And I filed in December, end of December, basically. It's been almost 6 months. Almost 6 months. Yeah. Since I filed. The 23rd of this month will be 6 months. But I read that to remind folks, I am the plaintiff in this lawsuit. Now people can file their own. I have no intention of presenting anything or writing anything where I cannot back it up and it's not factual to the best of my ability. I'm not here to distort the record and just create things and pull things out of the sky. No, I didn't tell everybody what my plan was and how I was going to approach this. Yeah. It's unfolding though. And we'll just have to wait and see. But I do have rights to, if I want to. Everyone can deal with their own case in their own way or whatever. If I want to, talk about this case, I can. I haven't even read the complaint. Anything else? But that's it for me. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm Teddy. Yeah, good night.